Hello everyone, this is Adam and I'm going to give you my impressions on the Division 2, its private beta. Now, I wasn't a real fan of the first game. I played through it from start to finish, and I really enjoyed the beta of the first game because it had a lot of promise of delivering what Destiny did not. This was before Destiny 2 came out. And, well, it was a huge disappointment because it had lots of bullet sponge enemies, a very non-existent endgame where you just rush the Dark Zone and kill a bunch of, well, higher than average enemies. And that was really it. I mean, the game did get a lot better. I never played it past the core game, but a lot of people who kept playing and eventually Ubisoft started updating the game said it was a much better product towards the end of its life cycle, but nevertheless, the first impression was pretty bad. And Ubisoft has this type of reputation where the first game is more of a learning exercise, and the second game they do very well. This happened with Assassin's Creed, in which it was scolded for being very repetitive and having a very nasty cliffhanger ending, and it happened again with Watch Dogs, which again, mediocre gameplay, standard story, and both of those games went on to be incredible successes because Assassin's Creed 2 improved on everything that the first game didn't have, better characters, better everything, and same thing for Watch Dogs 2. I know I'm talking a lot about that, but bear with me. That's what I expected from the Division 2, and so far with the private beta, I'm not impressed. In fact, it plays just like the original Division, which could be its undoing. You kill hordes of enemies, go from point A to point B, and do it all over again. Granted, this is a private beta, so I anticipated glitches, issues, technical problems, so those weren't as problematic for me as the gameplay was. Yes, there were a lot of really big issues, such as texture popping, which was really bad, and sound problems. Like, there would be this problem where the machine gun sound would just keep playing over and over again until you either reloaded the beta or you started the entire thing over, like you went outside the mission area and just restarted. Speaking of missions, there were two missions, one in the Dark Zone, which is basically the end game, and a type of mission where you have to get into the garage, which the command prompt would not trigger. So those are problems that I hope Ubisoft addresses when they see all the list of issues this beta has, and there are a lot of issues, especially when it comes to the enemies just popping out of nowhere and somehow having like 90% accuracy. Like, they can shoot you from almost any angle and hit you with any weapon, whether it's shotgun, machine guns. It's absolutely ridiculous. But again, the gameplay is what really has me worried because it's more of the same. You kill hordes of enemies, get loot, and just keep doing it over and over again. Now, the system isn't bad, but it has to be done very well for it to be, you know, executably fun. If it's not, it can just become a tedious game, which the first Division was. And here it's the same thing. You kill, you loot, and you do it all over again. And the story missions aren't that interesting. They tell you, okay, you have to recover this agent because he's important. You have to kill this person because they almost killed the Division agent. It's just, I don't care about any of these characters. Why is this important? What the heck is going on? I'm just liberating Washington from the gang that runs it, which is called the Hyenas, and for some reason they have like infinite number of soldiers because you fight an absurd amount of soldiers in this demo. It's ridiculous. It's like they outnumber the agents 10 or 20 to 1. And when you're playing solo, it's extremely handicapped. You do not have a distinct advantage as you do if you play with a team. If you play with a team, you can literally murder everything. Yes, some of the enemies get a health boost, but for the most part, they're nothing compared to the actual players. But if you play alone, be prepared for some pain because, like I stated earlier in this impression, the enemies have an absurd level of accuracy that just isn't fair most of the time. Speaking of the enemies, they're all the same. You will fight the same 3 enemies over and over and over again. I mean, I think there are 4 types because there is an enemy that shoots little robots at you. But for the most part, you'll just be fighting hordes of the same enemies as you've seen me do here. This is the final cooperative mission that you play. And yeah, these are basically the same enemies you were fighting throughout the game. So is there anything that the Division 2 does do right? Well, the shooting, it's actually definitely improved on. It has this level of impact that shooters rarely capture, but here it's done well thanks to the rumble feature, but once again it's ruined because of that sound glitch it has. Another thing is the customization options. There are a lot of ways in which you can customize your Division agent, including cosmetics that don't affect your statistics, and other customizable items that do. You can equip 2 primary weapons and 1 secondary weapon, but those who played the original Division will find the interface much more complementary than before. So it does a very good job in the customization element. But other than that, it's more of the same. So I'm really worried about whether the Division 2 will succeed, because it seems like they're just repeating the same pattern as the original game with a lot of the same gameplay elements, running down empty streets, which I will give note that it is a little more refreshing seeing a bit of greenery throughout, but when you see half the environments just popping out of nowhere and horrible textures, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth, especially when you come across invisible barriers that block off areas that aren't loaded yet. That is another problem they have to address. So on the technical side, the Division 2 needs a lot of work. From the gameplay side, I really hope the future missions that are not part of this beta are a little more enticing, because from what I played, it's just the first Division, only with a fresh coat of paint. It's almost like the Division 1.5. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope that this becomes another Assassin's Creed 2 or Watch Dogs 2 situation where the games surpass the original in almost every category, but it's looking that it won't. So those are my impressions. Tell me whether you agree or disagree in the comments below, whether you're looking forward to the Division 2 or if you just don't care about it. I like to hear everyone's opinion. And as always, everyone, stay awesome.